Okay, here's a fourth technique. I'm using the sponge in the bucket technique, but I'm adding a pot of water for rinsing. I've only seen this in a couple households. People who are really serious about saving water like to do this though. But everybody in the household has to agree that they're going to use this technique. Otherwise, this will just get dumped out by the next person. So I'm going to take my dishes and stack them. I'm actually going to stick these in this cup to soak. Going to put the food scraps in the compost. Looks like there's not quite enough room in here for the big plate because this takes up some space. That's okay. I'll just stack these here and I'll start washing. So with the silverware, and look at this, someone left some silverware in the wash bin. I'll wash the silverware and just drop it straight into the rinse water. Some people are a little less comfortable with this technique because every time you put a washed dish into the rinse water, it puts a little soap into the rinse water, and the rinse water can get soapy. You'll see something like this glass. Now, when I wash, I let the soap drip off somewhat, but this is going to put some soap in the water. Now, it's already full enough. I don't think the mug will fit, so I'll take these out. But the nice thing about this technique is I'm not using any water to rinse. Well, I'm using a little bit of water, but just that one pot. And I can leave that there. You can see with this small amount of dishes, it will not leave enough water, enough soap in there to make the water soapy. And so when I'm done, I can just leave the water there. If I have 3 meals today, and I'm the only one here, so I just have to wash this many dishes 3 times, I will be able to do all of that without ever changing that water. Now, if I live in a household with 5 other people or 4 other people, and everybody does this, maybe after the breakfast, after all 5 people have washed their dishes, it might be soapy. But you've still saved a lot of water. Now notice this dish does not fit. So what I did was I held it up and splashed the water on it to rinse it off. You just have to look at it, and if you see any soap bubbles left on it, then you just splash a little more water where you see the soap bubbles. That looks fine to me. Now with this technique, just like the other techniques, you don't want to leave a dirty sink for the next person. So I'm going to take my food scraps. I have a compost, so I'll throw them in the compost. You may not have a compost, you may have the garbage, and you may put them in the garbage, or you may put them down the garbage disposal. Now, I like to squeeze the sponge out and let it dry. But what you don't want to do is take a wet sponge and leave it on the counter. That sponge has enough air and it's the right temperature, it'll get musty. So squeeze it out and leave it on the counter. And that is it.